What's up, everybody? It is your co-host, Rob. Today, we're going to sit down with one of my favorite people in the industry, Leanne Courtney, the founder and president of Achieve with Tech. Leanne's going to actually walk us through something that you should be thinking about, and that is how you manage AI agents. They are not set and forget. They are something you should be proactively managing. So Raymond and I are going to sit down and have a conversation with someone who previously sat in that seat, managing AI agents, managing generative AI, managing tech stack, as well as someone who is consulting on it full time now, and get her thoughts and get Raymond's thoughts and my own. So definitely a must listen, especially if you want to grow through using AI agents or AI. And see you guys in a second. Enjoy. What's up, everybody? I'm Rob Mann, and I have opinions.
Hi, I'm Raymond Pennie. I'm forming new opinions, but today I'm somewhere different. So I'm actually in my dining room with opinions.
He's in a different room in the house with opinions. Raymond just admitted to me that he's not good at DIY projects, and he said he was decorating, which I'm totally fine with him not being okay with. But then he said it's DIY, so I don't know what's going on over in the Pennie Manor. Which is what we should call your house from now on, by the way.
I have a bag of tools. They don't all come with instructions. And someone once said, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a job for a hammer. I've got a box of tools, and the one I can use is a hammer.
It's impressive because you just smash things with it. All right, cool. Well, they're definitely not telling Raymond to help me around the office ever. Guys, we're going to be going to a guest format again today. Speaking of changing rooms, moving around, speaking of only having one tool in your hammer, we actually have maybe one of my favorite software admins, my favorite software developers joining us. She also is like Carmen Sandiego, and we actually have to guess or ask her where she is in the world right now. So let's have our friend Leanne Courtney from Achieve with Tech on. Leanne, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
And can you tell the fine folks where you are today?
Yeah, today I'm in Australia. Next week it could be anywhere.
I talked to you. I talked to you Friday of last week, and you were still in Toronto, right? I'm not making that up.
No, I was in Australia then.
Jesus, I'm oblivious. Okay, all right, that's on me. All right, we also just did not tell Leanne what the topic was going to be to record today, so we figured she was actually going to crush this completely off the cuff. So if you are impressed with Leanne's knowledge, and we're not going to talk about what Achieve with Tech does, but if you need help with technology, you know, Raymond, myself, but we probably would default to Leanne too, for a lot of things. So, yeah, you're going to be impressed, I think, and you should reach out to Leanne if you need anything. All right. With that said, Leanne, we're going to talk about AI agent manager tools, or AI manager, the role in businesses. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
I thought you were going to call me a hammer, so like I'm excited.
No, I said like the whole tool, so you can do everything. And
so it's like I'm
look at it and be like, it looks like a hammer, but I could actually make it a wedge, and then I could also do this with it, and I could also do that with it. Whereas Raymond's just like, I just want to smash something, which is probably why he's good at very simple game. Anyway, Raymond, you got the first question.
I'm just tying it through into a piece that I wrote in 5 Point Friday last week, and it was about a new job role, and a new job role that every company, every recruitment company, every recruitment owner is going to have in the next year and a half, if they haven't got it already. And the job title revolved around the title of being the AI agent manager, and the AI agent manager sitting between the humans and the AI agents. And underneath that was the tech stack. So what caused me to write about it was a job that was advertised by Netflix. And it was a Netflix job for $1 million a year to be their agent manager. And I was like, hey, we should all have one of those. And then I saw that it was like $1 million a year. So that made it slightly different. But my belief in what I wrote about and what other people have come back in a positive nature is AI and AI agents isn't like other tech. It's not set and forget. it's set, and check in regularly, and check in as if you were a junior member of staff, and maybe junior member of staff who sometimes learns a little bit more and starts doing something differently. So, question for Leanne: how do you feel about that as a concept? And is it the sort of thing you've either done or aspire to be doing?
How much are you going to charge for it? That's the real question.
$1 million.
You never ask a lady her price on a podcast. Yeah, look, I think that there is really something to not just AI agent managers, but AI manager, because like Raymond just said, there's a common misconception that like traditional technology that didn't have AI, that it's set and forget. The AI needs to be continuously coached, and it's obviously updating all the time. There's a level of maintenance that's required that I think that staffing agencies particularly haven't quite foreseen that that's going to be a job that they'll have to fill in the next couple of years. So what we've traditionally seen as a tech stack manager will naturally have to expand into managing agents and prompting and updating your AI on a daily basis. So yeah, definitely I'm on board, Raymond, with what you said.
Okay, so I described it as a combination of 4 jobs, and then I countered myself. So I said it was like an IT manager, then it was like a business systems manager, then I said it was like an HR manager, and then I said it was like an operations manager. Which of those do you think is maybe closest to, and what sort of skills do you think it needs to have, or the person who does that role needs to have?
Yeah, perhaps not HR manager as you were listing all of those, but I think there's an enablement adoption piece, a change manager piece that falls into that. Naturally, I would say business systems admin falls into that because the AI will have to connect in with your other technology, and you have to give it permission and authorization to be able to roam freely or within the boundaries that you set it. But I think the change management adoption piece is really important. And operations, I guess, does touch on it to some level, but the business system admin also has to have a deep understanding of what the business wants to achieve. And I think that's a really important point that IT managers traditionally in the past haven't really had to understand, because they're not really linking it to outcomes, right? They get the ticket in, they solve the problem, they move on. But I think with AI, you're linking it to results and outcome, and you want it producing something. So you have to have an understanding of how the business flows and what their growth vision entails in order to be a successful AI manager, I would say.
Yeah, I want to just jump in. I think
Go, Rob.
I had the initial reaction that Leanne says, like, HR is probably not necessary.
It's
but-
HR.
But here's why I think. Well, number one, you could ask the AI what the HR policies are. But I do think if you are interacting with agents that are going to interact with your customers, whether this is like, a viewer on Netflix or a candidate or your client in staffing, or just like, a B2C, you're selling, a piece of something to someone. I do think that there is like we talk about this, like the human element, right? And so like, what is the experience we're trying to drive? I think we need to ask that. And maybe that's what the HR person is, because business analyst should have that knowledge of the business and like what experience we're trying to create. The operations manager should be like, all these people should be a holder of the culture, and that culture is part of the part of the experience that the business creates for their customers. But I think that part needs to make sure that it gets into the conversation as you're managing agents. You're like, hey, how is this agent going to create the experience that we hold ourselves to?
Where I went on it, and I probably disagree with you both a little, is that agents need a job description. And agents need a job description, which may act as what you expect from them, but also they need an improvement plan. And if they haven't been doing what they were meant to be doing, then they need to be in a performance improvement plan. And
tip in AI early.
Yeah. And that HR function was about, how do you treat it as if it was a human resource and measure it in the same way? And where I went in my discussion was that it's another member of the team, and the team determines the output that they want to get, and everybody in the team forms part of it. And if you're not forming part of it as the team, then HR has a tendency to get involved. And that might be because you don't have the right job description, you don't have the right goals, you haven't got competencies described. And I think teams evolve as they get into it. And I think we're beginning to see teams evolving off the back of how AI is being introduced into the business. So they're reacting, humans react to the things they see, and they're reacting to, hey, could it do this? Could it do that? Oh, if it's doing that part, then I need to be better at this other part. And I think my analogy was that it's a ever-evolving HR scenario where people are able to do different things. They may have different aspirations. They may have different goals. They maybe want to get promoted. Maybe the agent wants to get promoted. How does the agent have some humans that's working for the agent? And then it got a little bit controversial and deleted it and didn't do that. But
We should definitely publish that, but just as like your hot take. It's an interesting conversation. It's also very clear, Leanne, that Raymond has managed more people than us over the course of his career so far. Because he's
managed in a very loose.
Yeah. I see where you're going. I see where you're going. I think it's probably not as formalized as a performance improvement plan. I think you can be a lot more direct, and the changes, essentially you're in charge, right? Like you're driving the Ferrari, so you get to steer it where you want it to go. Now, I think to some extent, yes, you need to tell it what it is doing right and what it isn't doing right. I agree. But I think that you can just give direct instructions to go like, this is not the output that I wanted. This is where I want you to go. So maybe it's not as formalized as a performance improvement plan. Yeah, there's a job description for sure, but I think that it needs to be a lot more simple. One thing that I personally find when you get overcomplicated with the AI is it starts not performing like you want it to. So I think more instructional designer, maybe, I suppose, of what you're putting in your prompt rather than a direct description of what we traditionally know.
I just don't like being mean to AI because I just constantly have this Terminator fear, like Skynet fear in my head. And I'm like, I want to be the nice person in the room.
I love being mean to AI.
I don't.
This tracks as well.
Yeah. If ever anyone is watching this,
It's
Mr.
okay.
AI, Claude, yes, Rob and I, we both
Very
respect-
nice AI.
Yeah.
Leanne, not so much. It also explains why I have a healthy fear of Leanne, just so everyone knows. Anyway,
What's the best agent you've seen then, Leanne?
I feel like
What-
my relationship.
What have you done that's been the biggest game changer or the thing that surprised you?
So the best agent that I've seen or the biggest game changer?
Both. Or one of each.
So I've got to be honest, like I feel like that where agents are right now is like when they replaced that routing or routing for the American listeners, of when you're trying to get through to a call center, and it says press 1 to do this and press 2 to do that. And it just like frankly annoys everybody who has to go through that. So I haven't yet seen any agent that I'm like from a front facing perspective where I'm like, oh wow, this is life changing or this is game changing. Where I think that it can be really helpful is you can create your own agent with a pretty simplified task of doing a lot of SharePoint admin, for example. Like I gave one I gave a really like simple task to repeat 35 times, and I went to bed and I came back and it was all done. So I think that's really impressive. I'm not going to call out any particular names of people that I've seen on the market, but one thing that it's exciting is that it's changing so fast. And I think that generational video content, generational voice is really making an impact. I just haven't seen it on a front-facing level where I would be telling your listeners to go and replace their entire marketing or BD team with an agent, right? So I guess TBC, like I haven't seen anything that I'm like, wow, this is really life-changing, but I think there's little pockets of really exciting stuff that's happening. I think the biggest change that I've seen is when you sit down with your team and really show them what prompting looks like. And to your point before, you kept saying, can it do this? Can it do that? When people actually get the Ferrari in their hand, it's pretty cool to watch them try and drive it,
Good answer. I think that's fair. Can I ask some, Raymond, I'm going to get you to a point here. I'll let you make a point there, but how do you feel about screening agents, Leanne? What is your thoughts on how many screening agents exist in the world right now?
How many there are? A lot. Look, I think that they serve a certain purpose, and I do think that it gives candidates a sense that they get to plead their case a little bit more. But I think that it's not going to be for everyone. Personally, I have a friend in the education space. She is very anti screening agents for any educational roles. I also think that you've got to keep checking on it and keep checking if the results and the satisfaction score is good, and you have to keep changing the weighting. Back to Raymond's original point, it's not a set and forget, right? Look, there are some ATSs that have some screening agents integrated. I think that there's some other ones that are pretty cool. I think the lead qualification agents aren't that great, frankly. I haven't seen any good ones. But yeah, no, there's some, the sales ones. I don't believe that a lead is wanting to talk to an agent when they come to your website. I personally haven't seen any great results. But yeah, there's a lot of screening agents right now.
Yeah.
Or note takers.
But like the note taking thing has been kind of happening for a while. It's just, I still have this thing. And Raymond, you record all your calls. Leanne, you record the calls for Achieve, right? Number one, staffing companies, if you're listening, whoever's listening, you should be recording your sales calls at the very least. Recruiting and sales, that means the same thing in staffing and recruiting. That's how you get your content for training that week or the next week. That's how you get, that's how marketing should go and ping it, all the transcripts, and say, hey, what are people talking about? What should I create content around to help influence my recruiting and sales team to help them get more deals or get better candidates or get better clients? Like, it's a goal. It's like not using your ATS first, right? It's like, you have this gold mine, please go use it. Stop. So like, I love the note takers more than the screening agents, but I see the value of the screening agents with what you said, Leanne, which is everyone gets a conversation, an ability to plead their case. Every so often I apply for jobs that I like really want to do for fun. I think they'd be fun and they pay well. And I'm like, I haven't got a screening agent. So not a lot of like HR teams are doing this yet. Sorry, I didn't hit the mic.
I think you point out a really important point that not every AI tool is for every single company. Like that is something that you should be looking at, is like, if you have high volume, maybe you should be considering a screening agent. If it's working for you right now, one-to-one relationships, taking people out for coffee, taking people out for lunch, candidates and clients, don't fix what's not broken. Like, I think you can still scale that slowly without rushing out going, okay, I need to buy 6 different tools in order to scale my business. It's really easy to get FOMO at the moment, particularly with all the posting, all the content that you see floating around, but really just stop for a sec and see what exactly you need to get your business to grow. Maybe it will be a real human rather than an AI. Like, AI is not the solution to absolutely everything. And be careful of people who are saying, I've replaced half of my team with AI agents and things like that. Or I met someone who said, I run 5 different businesses just with AI agents.
And you're like,
those sort of things, be careful of that.
What's your revenue in all those businesses? So
that's it.
What's the result?
But also, how long will it last?
I think the big thing is,
I maybe want to give
and we said
an example we came across the other day. Okay. I had an example the other day where we're working with a customer who's being able to connect different parts of the business in ways that it didn't before. So we ran an exercise where we were connecting candidates from their CRM with the call transcriptions from their call system, and then asking the combined thing a question. And one of the things we found early on was there was somebody who was at a status of offer made who had accepted the contract but hadn't been updated. So the call was very clear that they'd accepted and signed, but they were 4 days behind in updating to placed and starting doing the next step of the recruitment process. And that's now that's a scheduled prompt, and it's sitting behind things, and it's going to run, and it's going to create an artifact, and the artifact's going to be distributed to all the people in the Claude team every morning, and they are cool with it. But it was the sort of thing that a manager might have taken a while to find, but Claude, and hey, I'm
Imagine
a
if
bit
they
of a
didn't
Claude
find it.
junkie. Claude said, "Hey, I found this. Should this be like
Yeah.
this?" Like, thank you very much, Claude. My TA.
That's why I talk about like revenue leak, you know, just the things that you miss, right? In the system, or your recruiter got busy, maybe got called away right before he was about to change the status on the placement. And now we're what if we're like 90 days out and this person's
Now
been
we're 3
working
days
and like,
behind. Now we're 3 days behind. Yeah.
well, but like imagine they just miss it for months and now they can't invoice for it. Right? Or whatever that
Well,
is. You're
or
just,
they miss it and they
Yeah.
haven't started the onboarding process, and the onboarding
yeah,
process
and
takes
now the
15
client's
days,
pissed. So
and
it's
now
just
you're a
like,
week further back.
You do have to keep an eye on your intern, though, on your AI agent. I think that going back to set and forget, like it can do things that are really awesome like that, which is great, but you don't want to rely on it without any supervision. Like you still need to go check that it's actually correct and do your due diligence as well. Look, when I do AI training with people, we talk about treating it like an intern. Like you have to give it instructions and you have to check on it occasionally. You know, there'll be months where you may not have to check on it, then you have to go back and check on it, you know? So supervision, handle with supervision.
Leanne treats me like her intern. She's constantly making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, all right, Leanne,
We've all tried that.
it's not going to work. Andy laughs at me.
Are you trying to say I'm the only one who's successful, Raymond? Maybe I got
Probably.
the Rob
Short-term
hammer.
success.
I'm
Short-term
not a
success.
nail. All right.
It's the accent.
It's intimidating, Raymond. The Scottish accent's a little too, calm and, cheerful. It's the Australians that get you.
Yeah.
All right. The Australians who speak
It's
French.
the Australian redhead who speak French. Redheads.
Leanne, final thought on AI. Like what is something that people need to know right now that you're seeing or that you're thinking about?
I think you have to try it.
Still?
Yeah, I think don't be too scared to try it out, and don't be afraid to make a little baby agent with a really short task. I know that you said, Raymond, that you're a Claude fanatic. So yeah, if it's Claude, Gemini, pick your poison, ChatGPT, whatever, you can make a little baby agent that doesn't do much. Could just tell you what you have on for the day, or what you need to make for dinner, or what you need to follow up with today, and then build blocks on top of that. And then the other thing I would say is just be careful of grand gestures, I suppose is what I'm calling them on LinkedIn, about how AI is solving everybody's problems. Just, yeah, like really deep dive as to what that means, but definitely try it. You got to start somewhere.
We got to get past this trying phase. We shouldn't, there should be like 99.9% trying already. So,
You know what? You'd be so surprised how many people
I'm
don't,
not surprised now.
right? Like they're still paste in Excels.
Jesus Christ.
Can I ask the same question? We had Dries on
Oh, yeah.
last week, and one of the questions we asked, which maybe we can make into a standing question.
Thank you for remembering this.
Yeah, it's okay. Which is, where do you see AI in the next 3 months, and where do you see it in the next 3 years?
Wow, it's such a hard question to answer, but I'm going to do my best. And then maybe in 3 months, you can hold me honest. I think in 3 months, we'll start to see a lot more popularity around content generation with AI, but like on more of a general consumerist model. So looking at AI film festivals,
That's
AI
cool.
television, things like that. I think that'll really take off before the end of the year, at least in my sphere. That seems to be taking off a lot. And then did you say 3 years or 1 year,
years.
Raymond? 3 years. I think that everyone is going to have their own agents. Don't come for me, the listeners who don't agree. I think that we'll all have our own agents, and probably more than one agent for sure. And it will be way more sophisticated than what we can ever imagine. Maybe we'll even talk about having AI in a robot in your house, cleaning your floors and doing all your daily routine tasks. I think it will sort of infiltrate all of our daily lives outside of the professional sphere, whereas a lot of people focus on AI and professional, but we'll start to see it creep more and more into the domestic sphere. And I don't think AI is going to come for you if you're rude to it. That's my prediction. in 3
So,
years.
so I was going to do our full circle
it
moment,
lacks it.
Leanne, to your prediction and say that, so Raymond won't have to hire a guy to come to his house to do DIY projects. He will have a robot that can do it for him, that knows how to use all the tools in Raymond's
Optimus
toolbox.
5. Optimus 5.
There we go. All right. So full circle. Well done, everyone, on the toolbox, on the AI agents. We went full circle. This was a fantastic conversation, as expected. Again, Leanne, no preparation. This is all off the cuff from our good friend over, God knows where she is. I think she said she's in Melbourne. And thank you so much, Leanne.
Maybe I'll be on Mars in 3 years. Who knows?
You'll probably be ruling it. That'll be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into R-Cubed, where Rob and Raymond talk recruitment, AI automation, same stuff, training. If you found anything of use in this episode, if you learned something, if we made you think, if you're going to bring something back to your team, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. We appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy. Cheers.